Welcome to Social Selling for Distributors webinar series. Today we are going to be talking about Twitter for promotional product business. My name is Gloria Lafont and I will be your presenter today. The first thing that I want to say, Twitter is not a standalone. It doesn't work by itself. It needs to be part of your strategy and part of all your marketing mix. Twitter is more like a big networking space where you're going to be connecting, interacting, learning about your audience. So you have to show up just as if it was a networking event anywhere else. There is a lot of interaction in Twitter. So the more you show up, the more you connect, the more that your business will get new connections. So it really works like spreading seeds. The more you show up, the more seeds you spread, the more little plants you start to see flourishing here and there. So you're not going to get immediate results. Now, you also need to be clear on the keys to success. You have to have clarity of your target audience, relevant, informative content, a website that converts, and you have to be consistent. These things here are key. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, but I call it the marketing equation. This is the direct response marketing formula. Basically, for marketing to give you optimal results, you want to have a match of your message to your audience, to the vehicles. In this case, the vehicle that we're going to be discussing is Twitter. But you want to be clear on your message, on what you're telling your audience, and you have to be clear on who your audience is, who your ideal clients are. And then you also need a website that is going to keep the person interested once they go in. You need content to share because this is all about sharing content. You want to share your own content, so that's how you position your company and yourself as an authority and as an expert. Okay, so let's go over the agenda now that we got that out of the way. So first we're going to talk about why Twitter, how to use it for your business, best practices, an action plan, and tools and resources to help you get all of this done. So why Twitter? Twitter is a gigantic network. It has 330 million monthly active users. Now this is globally. It's the most global platform available in the most number of languages. Now, almost 70 million of those monthly users are in the United States. And 80% of those are affluent millennials. So they're educated, they have higher incomes, they have college degrees, etc. They're professionals. 80% of those access Twitter through their phones. It's a very active platform. It has lots and lots of interactions, as I mentioned before, lots of conversations going on, because it's very easy to grab your phone and just see what's going on and have an opinion on something, share or read what somebody else is sharing. So it is extremely active. Now 74% use it to get the news. A lot of people check the news, they go onto Twitter because they're following news outlets. For me, it is my favorite platform. 75% of adults use multiple platforms. We all have different platforms. And I thought this was interesting. This number is much higher than the one I show in my previous webinar, the one I did a little bit ago, where I show that it's about 50%. But in updating those numbers, it's really more like 75%. And this is a number that is growing. People are active in multiple platforms. And here I have some stats to confirm that. So interestingly, what we want to see, how many people are in other platforms that are also using Twitter. Now, 90% also use Facebook. 90% of people on Twitter use Facebook also. 50% also use LinkedIn. So many of your contacts on LinkedIn are also on Twitter. Now, the important thing, because for me, this is my favorite platform, like I just said. I love the interaction. I love the fact that you can connect with people and you can share ideas and find people that are like-minded. So that I like a lot. If you use it for personal use, it's not necessarily the same thing as using it for business. So let's talk about how we use it for business. Now, I'm not going to talk about how many times a day you should be posting, and what hours, and all that kind of stuff. There's plenty of talk about that. And I always think that those things are references. You always want to see how you're going to use it. What I want to show you is why this makes sense for you. The main reasons, the strategic side of it, not so much the tactical one. Okay, so the number one reason why you want to be there is because your clients are very active on Twitter. If you work with bigger clients, those clients have Twitter accounts, and they share all kinds of information about their products, news, the things that are going on in their business, new programs, new events they have coming up, things like that. So the more you know about what's going on your clients' businesses, the more opportunities you can uncover for your own business. So that's one reason why this is really a phenomenal tool. Now, one thing that your clients use Twitter for is to build buzz around their events. And they do this for those events that you are actually getting the promotional products for. So I know this for a fact because I took some screenshots here that I'm going to show you. For example, this one here just came up on my feed, and this company was sharing their swag that they got for XYZ event that they were holding up. Now, these are not promotional product companies, because we are used to seeing tons of promotional product photos all day long. All day long we see this, but most people are not. Now, one thing that they do on social media is when they get their sets of promotional products for XYZ event, they show it on social media. If you are following them and you make a comment, you like the photo, you are part of that. So you should really do that. Can you imagine if you interact with your client at this level? Because then the interaction is not limited to the transaction. When you are talking to your clients, normally you're talking about orders. You're talking about quantities, pricing, quotes, deadlines, and that's the end of the conversation. But this allows you to continue that relationship, to take it to another level, to go in another angle. So I want to show you a couple more examples that I have found, so you see that that's not a random one. So if you follow your clients, you'll see this will show up on your feed. I think that this is a great opportunity of interacting. Here's another one. It's right on the event. He's showing his shirt, very proud. There are many like this, so you don't want to miss that opportunity when your clients are sharing the stuff that you made. Now, they also use Twitter for live streaming. Like, for example, if they have an event, you can bet somebody will be live sharing what's going on at their event. Maybe they do a quick interview before the event starts or in between sessions. They make announcements. That way they engage people on social media, and the event goes on social media as well. So if you are part of that, if you start retweeting those live streams and those videos, you are going to increase the number of views that they have. And believe me, there is no higher compliment you can give someone that is live streaming than sharing their video and increasing the number of views. Your client, I'm sure your client would appreciate this. And I say this because back when I started using Twitter, that was like at the very beginning, years ago, I really didn't know what to do on Twitter. Back then, you couldn't advertise on social media. You know, it was all about sharing and all free. But I couldn't really see much sense of what I was doing there. I started to follow my clients. I thought that would make sense. If I found a client on Twitter, I would follow them. And I would just make a comment. I would like their stuff, retweet it. And they took notice. I found later on, at some point or another, they would make a comment on how I was following them and how I share their posts and how they appreciated it. So I encourage you to do that because I know that it works. This is not theory. I know we're talking about building relationships. Now, remember that this is a networking space. You're going to use this for networking. And what you're going to do is you're going to find influential individuals and brands. You just talked about following your clients. You also want to connect with potential clients, because in this platform you can follow anybody. You can follow whoever you want. It's not like Twitter that you have to actually ask for their permission in some way. Here you follow someone and that's it. Many times they will follow you back because it's like a courtesy pact where you follow me, I follow you, and this is like something that goes on. It doesn't always work, but it does work a lot of times. People follow you, you follow them. But in any case, you want to find influential individuals and brands. Like, for example, your client is in the healthcare industry and they have this one healthcare specialist that talks about new regulations, for example, somebody that is respected and that you see that people follow. So you start following those people because you know that they're going to be coming out with information that you can share because it's going to be of interest to your ideal clients. And then you also want to connect with potential clients, like we said. You want to interact with clients and prospects, and you want to share helpful information. That's it. Another thing that you can do in Twitter, another way of networking, is by participating in Twitter chats. Twitter chats are live events. It's a public Twitter conversation around a certain topic. So they're hosted by an organization, and their main purpose is to increase their following and interaction with brands. Now, this is normally media outlets and associations. They would be the ones holding one. Like, for example, in the promotional product industry, you may have heard of it. This one called promochat that is put out by promochat. They do this, I think it's on Wednesdays. So what it is that I want to show you how one goes. But in this case, it's identified with a hashtag, and you know that the day and time, they announce it ahead of time, so you know to connect. Now in this case, of course, it's all talk about industry stuff. But there's other chats that I particularly follow that I'm interested in the topic of marketing and advertising. For example, Adweek. I follow Adweek, and they have a chat, and I follow that chat. So what it is that the media, or the one that's organizing and hosting the chat, I should say, they will pose a number of questions. So first they say, this is going to start. They start officially, they post about the fact that they're starting. And then they put the first question and usually identify with a Q1. And then when you respond right under there, you would respond to the question. And you always put the hashtag on your question, on your response. So for example, in this case, this one has 30 comments. This question, 30 people commented on this. 7 people retweeted and 20 people liked it. So there's interaction with a number of people around the topic that they were talking about. The comments is what's important in this case, by the way. You want the more people that comment, the more interaction you're getting. Now these comments are spontaneous, whatever comes to mind. People type, sometimes they make a joke about it, sometimes they put a little image in there, or their little GIF or GIF or however you pronounce it. You know that I have an accent and I apologize if I didn't say it right. But the point is that the connection that is happening and the interaction, the engagement. So here's another example, and at the end of the chat, when it's usually 30 minutes, because you can't expect people to take too long out of the day, to be chatting with you. So it's usually about 30 minutes, and they'll close the chat with a tweet announcing that it is over. And although sometimes people stay and continue the interaction, but it's just like an announcement. The point is, it's over, this is it. So it would be awesome for you to join chats in your client's business. The point is that it would be awesome for you to join chats in your clients' industries. to kind of be vigilant of what they're doing. And you're not going to find it the first day that you look. It may take you a while, but the point is, that's where you're going to find out what their interests are and what's going on. So imagine all that you would learn about your clients' industries if you attended one of these. Okay, so the second thing that you want to do in Twitter is listening. Things happen in your client's business that you don't know about. Just know when they tell you, hey, can we get this in green, or can we get the set of these things here? And you don't really know much about those events. So that's why Twitter is a great tool. So for example, you would know about industry news and changes that are going on in your clients' industries that might be affecting them. New regulations come in, or they're selling the company, they're rebranding, things like that that you wouldn't otherwise find out. All of this type of information represent opportunities for you. So you want to know what's going on. You also want to know what your competitors are doing. You follow your competitors, you know what they're doing, and this keeps you a little bit more current on things. The other thing that helps with is boost your rankings in Google. Google recognizes if you have a Twitter company page, it recognizes that you are a valid business. It kind of validates that you're legit because you have these social media profiles that are active, and Twitter happens to be a very important one. So you want to pay attention to the information that you have to fill out that describes your company. So that make sure that everything matches, meaning your address and the name of the company. This is for Imprint's example, and you can see a little bit what they have in there. So the other thing that you're also going to do is drive traffic to your website. Now, I don't think that this is such a big source of traffic as much as it is a means of interaction, to be honest. Because to drive traffic, then you have to really have a gigantic following. And there are a lot of people that are bloggers, that are well known, that have very high numbers of followers. And of course, they have a lot of people clicking on their blog posts. But for a small company that you're starting out and you don't have a gigantic following, I wouldn't really say that you're going to have that much traffic. Even though once your own clients and prospects start following you, you will see more and more people clicking on your posts because you're connecting to the right audience. But this is not going to be a huge amount of traffic that you're going to see from your posts. The way this works is that your content is going to attract people to your website. It takes a while to build a following and organic reach to make this your best source of leads. That's why I would not go with this as a main goal. It's more like a fringe benefit. Now, let's talk about a Twitter action plan. The first step, you're going to fill out all the information on the section where you're supposed to fill out your information. And you're also going to use a professionally designed cover. You want to make sure that the cover is the right size, that is sized to the area so that it's not all pixelated. Nothing worse than an image that looks all pixelated. You're in a branding business. The least you can do is have a nice graphic on your profiles. And also you want to pay attention, like I said before, to your name and information. And here it is again for Imprint. Okay, so step 2, we're going to follow your clients' business pages. We already talked about that. So you're going to follow all your clients' business pages. And if they have a personal profile under their names, you're also going to follow them. You also want to invite your clients to like your page as much as possible to increase your number of followers. You want to find out the chats that your clients and prospects are participating in. And then you do a little bit of stalking. You kind of check out their profile, see what kind of things they're posting, and see if you find any hashtag that is very particular to their industry. Then you're also going to share your own content. And for this, content is not only blog posts, things that are written, but you can also have pictures of your project, for example, or your blog posts. But you also can do product-specific ideas for themed around the holiday or specific events, types of events, so things like that, product ideas. And community and current events are also good posts, I think, because they connect you with your community. If you're living in a place where they're having a big fair, like for example here in Fort Lauderdale we have the air show. The air show is big. So if we are tweeting about how the air show is causing traffic, or how this year they're closing such and such street during those days, and we make comments like that that are relatable to our people that are also local, then we get more engagement. So though you want to mix up the posts. It's like having a conversation. You wouldn't just be talking about one thing. You will be talking about different things, and you will be adapting the conversation to the fact that you are networking with business people. Okay, so continue with the action plan. You want to share your clients' content. You want to be retweeting something that your clients posted. You want to retweet with a comment. Sometimes you can make a comment and retweet, or comment right on their tweet, like under their tweet. You also want to find a publication or an association or that your clients follow, something of interest, and you retweet that. You retweet the comment, you comment on the tweet, the same thing. Now, let's talk about best practices. Number one is use hashtags. You want to do a little bit of research and see what are the best hashtags for your target audience. Of course, also for your own business, the good hashtags would be branding, promotional products, even though I think promotional products is probably not so good for your clients as much as it is for industry related topics, but you would use company swag. You would do a little research and see what your clients are using, and then that's what you're going to use. And also research chats that you may want to join, even if it's just as a fly on the wall. The other thing is that Twitter lets you make lists of followers that you may want to group in different categories. It allows you to add someone to a list. To see your list, you would go in the back end and you would add, for example, if you found somebody that is a potential client, you could have them in potential clients. If you find somebody that is an influencer within the industry that you're targeting, that you will make a separate list. This is something that maybe you don't use at the beginning, but it's a tool that allows you to organize your followings a little bit more. The other thing that is very convenient, share buttons. Now, what do I mean by share buttons? Under your post, if it is set up right, and most media blogs have it so that you can share right from the blog post. You just click on the little icon and a window opens where you can add your own comment. It's going to populate it with the title of your blog post, but you can change that and you can add whatever you want or make whatever comment, and then you go and share it. This is an easy way to share your content with different little snippets every time. And you can retweet it as many times as you want. Okay, now let's look at some tools to make our jobs easier. One thing that you can definitely do is automate certain things. For example, if you have a blog, every time you post and you publish it, it could automatically be published on Twitter. You can set that up from within the blog. Now, of course, that works the time that you're posting your blog, but you need to post a little bit more frequent. So you use tools like Hootsuite, Buffer to schedule ahead of time your tweets. You would take a couple of hours say on a Saturday to put all your tweets for the week for not only Twitter but all the other places, and you can have all of that done ahead of time. And then during the week, you're going to just check in to interact, but you already have your posts going out. That's much better than doing it every day, because you get busy, you have things to do, you cannot be thinking about posting on social media every single day. This way, you get out of the way, and your profiles are active without you having to make too much of an effort. Then of course there is the mobile app, the Twitter, which is great to actually check in a couple times a day and just interact a little bit. And the notifications, you can set it up so that any time that somebody retweets or follows you or something, you get a notification and you can check that out. You can also delegate. There are certain things that you can delegate, which is, for example, the scheduled updates. You could have somebody help you with the blog post writing and also sharing it on social media, organizing the sharing, the blogging, and the posts, all of that. You could delegate somebody that you give them your parameters and your strategy, and then they can help you with that part. And that would be a big help to have somebody else do that for you, all the postings. And then what you do is just monitor, because you have to show up every day and participate. That is really key. Anybody that tells you that they're going to do it for you and they'll just get it off your hands, believe me, that is not going to work unless you participate and you're in there, because you know when an opportunity can present itself more than any third party that you hire, because they don't know your clients, they don't know what you're after the way you know. So showing up every day and participating is extremely important. Again, the keys to success: clarity on your target audience, relevant, informative content, a website that converts, and to be consistent. Now, the action steps are up to you. I really hope that you put some things into practice from what we discussed today, because without action, nothing happens. If you start small, you start at your own pace and then grow from there, before you know it, you will have little plants flourishing everywhere and a harvest eventually. And you won't even know how that happened, because all of this has a compounding effect. It grows on top of each other. That's really the huge advantage of this. Now, again, 80% of success is showing up. Now, thank you so much for your time. I really hope this was useful. And now go be successful.